think about it for a second. It's powering the device you're watching this on. It's lighting up your room. It's running your entire city. But what is electrical current really? It's this amazing, completely invisible flow of energy that basically drives our entire world. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain and really get a handle on this fundamental force.
Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to start with the absolute basics. What is electric current? Then we'll zoom in and see how it moves through something like a metal wire. After that, we'll look at the two main types, you've probably heard of them, DC and AC. Then there's a really great story, a kind of historical mix-up about which way it flows. And finally, we'll get practical and see how you can actually measure this invisible flow.
All right, first things first. Before we can get into all the cool stuff, we need to have a really solid definition locked down. What are we actually talking about when we use the word current?
At its heart, it's all about the rate of flow. You know, picture a river. You could stand on the bank and count how many gallons of water flow past you every minute. Well, with electricity, we're doing the exact same thing. We're just swapping out water for electric charge. It's simply a measure of how much charge moves past a single point in a specific amount of time.
And what's really cool is we can boil this whole concept down to one super simple formula. Current, which we use the letter I for, just equals the total charge, which is Q, divided by the time it took to pass, T. That's it. This little equation is the key to understanding pretty much everything else.
So how do we talk about this? The unit we use is the ampere, or you'll usually just hear it called an amp. And 1 amp is just a standardized amount. It means that 1 coulomb of charge, which is just a fancy name for a huge specific number of electrons, is flowing past our little checkpoint every single second. To put that in perspective, your phone charger might be pushing out maybe 2 amps, but a big microwave oven, that thing could be pulling 10 amps or more. It all just comes down to that rate of flow.
Okay, we've established that current is a flow of charge. But how does that charge actually get from A to B? Through, say, a normal copper wire? What's really happening down at the atomic level?
Well, the secret sauce is in the way metals are built. See, unlike a lot of other materials, the electrons in a metal aren't really tied down to any one atom. They're what we call free electrons. And they basically form this big, shared sea of charge that can just drift around the whole structure. So when you apply some energy, like connecting a battery, that whole sea of electrons starts to move in one direction, carrying energy with it like a wave, and it happens incredibly fast.
Now this diagram might look a little intense, but the idea is actually really simple. See all those little dots? Those are our free electrons, and when you give them a push with some energy, they start moving and bumping into each other, passing that energy along down the line. It's like a giant, super fast game of atomic pinball. And it's that chain reaction that creates the electrical current we use for everything.
All right, so we've got this flow of electrons going on. But here's where it gets interesting. It turns out that this flow doesn't always behave the same way. It actually has two very different personalities.
On one side, you've got direct current, or DC. This is the stuff you get from batteries. The electrons pick a direction, from negative to positive, and they just keep flowing that one way. But on the other side, you've got alternating current, or AC. This is what's coming out of the outlets in your wall. With AC, the flow of electrons is constantly reversing direction, back and forth, in a really regular repeating cycle. And that brings us to one of my all-time favorite stories in science. It's a classic tale of a historical mix-up that, believe it or not, still affects how every single electrical diagram is drawn today. This brings up a really important question, right? We know electrons are negatively charged, and we know they're the things moving inside the wire. So when you hook up a battery, which way do they actually go?
Okay, so check this out. Way back in the day, before anyone even knew what an electron was, scientists had to make a call. They decided to define current as a flow of positive charge, and they said it flows from the positive terminal of a battery to the negative one. We now call this conventional current. There's just one tiny problem. They guessed wrong. A while later, we discovered the electron, realized it was negatively charged, and figured out that the electrons actually flow the opposite way, from negative to positive. But by then, the old convention was so baked into every textbook and diagram that we just stuck with it. So even today, when we draw a circuit, we draw the arrows for current pointing one way, even though we know the actual electrons are flowing in the opposite direction. How wild is that?
So, we've got a handle on what current is, how it moves, and the weirdness about which way it flows. But how do we take this out of the world of theory and actually measure it? How do we make this invisible force something we can see and count?
Well, we do it with a device called an ammeter, and they come in all shapes and sizes, from these old-school analog ones with a needle that moves to the modern digital ones that give you a nice, clean number.
But no matter what they look like, their job is exactly the same, to measure the rate of flow, the amps, in a circuit.
Now here's the crucial part about using one. You can't just touch it to the side of a wire and get a reading. You have to physically break open the circuit and put the ammeter right in the path of the current. That way every single electron that's flowing has to go through the meter to get counted. This is what we call connecting it in series. The meter literally becomes a part of the loop that it's trying to measure.
So as we wrap things up here, it really all comes back to that very first idea we talked about. This simple but really powerful definition is the foundation for everything. It's just about counting charge over time.
And it's pretty incredible to think that from that one simple principle, we get everything from a tiny LED light to a massive supercomputer. It's a good reminder that some of the most powerful forces that shape our entire lives are the ones we can't see at all. Kind of makes you wonder, what other invisible forces are out there, quietly running the world all around us?